Hi everybody, can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
It's good to see you all joining in. It's nice to know that you're there. Oh, I'm on mute here. Nope. Mute. Yep, there we go. I've unmuted now. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes! All right. Is anybody whose phone isn't on mute, please could you mute yourself? So whoever Seminar is, because we're getting just background feedback. So Seminar, Sarah, if you've got a little green button under attendees, Catherine Birch, that would be great. Donna, that would be super duper. Just to stop getting feedback off your phones. Oh, I need all webcams. Webcam. Yeah, I think everyone can hear me. I can't now see me and I can't see anybody else. So I'm hoping that some of you are there. Oh yes, St. Luke's is there. I can see their webcam again. Okay. You can't hear me? St. Luke's, just a question. Can you hear me? Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Great, thank you.
Shout yes.
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 Shout out to St. Luke's. Okay. We've got a lot of individuals on. Hi, Helena. I know that the two hospices we've got so far are North London and St. Luke's. Helena, I saw that you were on. So do we have St. Christopher's on as well? Pop me a note. You've got 31 attendees so far. Emma, I can see you're on. St Wilfrid's, we're on. St Wilfrid's, can you hear me now? Can you pop me a note? I'm sure I'm going to get swamped with little notes and I'm not going to be able to read them all. Thank you, St Wilfrid's, for letting me know. Right, we've got 3 more minutes till we get going, and Helena wants to be the presenter. I'm not quite sure why. So I'm popping her a question. I think Helena might have something she wants to tell us all. So we've got Peace Hospice there, St Cuthbert's, Strathcarron. Oh, it's so nice. Rowcroft. St Cuths. Ayrshire. Compton. Ooh, we're going up. We've got 33 attendees. Martlets. You can come and sit next to me and just kick it off. Ooh. Hope I'm not going to get emails. Let's close all windows here. Should we get going? 2 o'clock. Okay, everybody. From the 3 webcams I can see, it's really, really lovely. Can you all see each other? Just nod if you can see each other. Great. It's really fantastic to be running the second module and to have so many hospices here. So I've just made a little list of, and forgive me if your name isn't on the list, because I see the chat box in just one tiny screen, and so things coming up one at a time. But just to let you know that we are North London, St Luke's, St Wilfrid's, Peace Hospice, Rowcroft, St Cuthbert's, Ayrshire, Compton, St Helena, Martlets, Oakhaven, Kilbride and Trinity. So it's fantastic that we've all got so many people all on the call together. We really, really appreciate your time, and it's wonderful to work in this collective yet remote way. So I'm just going to, Marie wants to do a bit of housekeeping, so I'm just going to do a little shuffle with my laptop, and then we'll get going.
Hi everybody, I'm sorry I should have my lipstick on, but there you go. Nice to see those I can. Just to say, if you could keep your button to mute until Jess asks you to call in, that would be great. And also, if you haven't registered and someone has forwarded you the link, completely welcome today. But the reason why we want you to register is that we can send you out any more resources that we want to know who's on the call. So if for any reason we have to cancel at short notice, we know who you are and we can send you an email straight away to say, sorry, this isn't going to happen. So that's the only reason why we want you to register, is that we can see who you are and make sure that we have good contact with you. We will be recording this as we speak, and all this will be back again on our website, and you can see it at a later date. So thank you very much, and look forward to joining you now in this webinar.
Thanks, Marie. So the first thing that I want to do is I will just want to have a look at insights or actions from last time, and any outcomes that you generated, if you have a bit more thoughtful, if you did absolutely nothing at all. So I'd love you just in 2 minutes to talk to each other in the room that you're with somebody else. And if you're by yourself, just write a note and just have some reflection time. We know that reflective practice is difficult, so let's use that time for a bit of reflective practice. Send us a message. So talk in pairs about an insight or an action from last time, any outcomes, and if you did nothing, what's been stopping you? So let's just take 2 minutes. A bit paper.
Laws, treetops, and laws, L-O-R-O-S, and this. Can you see chat coming through? Watching and the other people, how they work at work. Some nice ones coming up. Good. Okay, everybody, if we pull ourselves back to what we're doing right now, that would be really helpful, and thank you for posting. It makes a difference to know what you're doing, and if you have any more thoughts. We want help with evaluating the program, and one of the ways we'll know that what we're doing is working is if
you tell us that you're doing some stuff. And if you're not doing some stuff, also we need to know, because it will help us steer the program accordingly. So if any of you also are interested in helping us evaluate the utility of what we're doing together, that would be fantastic. Do, again, send us a message. And for those of you who've already responded, thank you. We'll be taking you up on that. So I just wanted to start by telling you a little bit about my week. One of the pieces of feedback I got was, tell us more about you. So on Monday, I went for a walk, and at the moment I was I'm living in Oxford, and I'm just about to move to London. I've been quite tied up in all the hideous stuff that goes along with moving. So my husband and I, instead of doing boxes on Monday, we decided it was a fantastic day. We were going to go for a walk around Christchurch Meadow. And this is Christchurch, and isn't it looking beautiful? And I just stopped and I took a minute and sat on a bench and did a little bit of just a little bit of breathing, a few mindful breaths. So you can take one with me right now. Just breathe in deeply. Breathe right out. And if you want to do it again while I'm talking, please do. And I just looked at this and I thought, aren't I lucky? I'm so privileged that I'm caught up in all these boxes, but time to get sight of the bigger picture. So one of the things that, if those of you working in group, you might like to consider doing is just get a picture of your favourite green space. If you want to print it out, do. But if you want to just show everyone you're working with your favourite green space, please do that. There's some fantastic research by the Japanese on something called Shinrin-yoku. Yeah, I challenge you to spell that. About how revived we feel by green spaces and the importance of them to us. And what the Japanese did is they took a bunch of people and sat them in the middle of a motorway for 15 minutes. And a bunch of people and sat them in the middle of a forest for 15 minutes and just asked them to observe. And guess what? Cortisol levels were much, much more reduced if you were in the middle of a forest. I can't imagine what it would be like sitting in a Japanese motorway. So your favourite green space, and it might be a picture of something, but it might just be getting all your ducks in a row, because in Christchurch Meadow, on one side I had the meadow, and on the other side I had all these geese swimming past together. And it reminded me of a little bit about what we're doing in a flotilla, going down this river, thinking about resilience as a group. And I think that at the top of the slide is the important bit for me, which is when you appreciate something, it appreciates for you, it grows bigger. And when you appreciate a person, how your appreciation of them helps them appreciate themselves. So top takeaway for today, and something you might like to try if you're in a group, is not only sharing your green space, but also sharing some appreciation of each other. So what are we going to be doing for the rest of today? Remember, for those of you who've come in, we're running a series of webinars over the next 12 months, and I will be asking you to do some work together and to break out in your rooms. And we'll have these top tips, which I've just given you too. And there is a WhatsApp group for those of you who'd like to join. So what about today, what we're thinking about today? Well, last time I showed you the casita model by Stefan van Istendal, and I really, really like this model. I think it just encapsulates everything that you might think about in a resilient space. And what we're going to look at today is, if you look at the basement, it's got networks of informal relations, fundamental acceptance of the person, not behavior. And we're going to be looking at some fundamental acceptance of yourself on the basement, in the basement, and then on the ground floor about capacity to make some sense of that and to do some reflective practice for yourselves. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And the particular part of our overall agenda that we're covering is points 2 and 3. So how you manage your whole self and how we do some peer coaching. So I'm going to spend 15 minutes towards the end for you to peer coach each other, and we'll get to what that's all about in a second. So I hope, fingers crossed, that you have printed out the resources that you need. Now, if you haven't printed them out, then what I recommend you do is this, is take a quick photograph of this screen and grab some paper. So take a photo of this screen, and what we're going to do is, you should all have a printout which looks something like this. You can't see it. You can't see it. No, of course you can't see it. The wheel. So you had a printout that looks something like the wheel. And of course they can see it, Marie, because they've got me. Oh, put me. Sorry, everybody. Or we have a little altercation in our room. And so what you're going to do is you're going to, on your blank wheel, you're going to fill in any areas that you like to select. So you might, so in the 8 empty areas, what you're going to do is put around the edges any one of these that you think works really well for you because it matters to you. So if you're going, help, I've got far too many here, there are 7 in each, and I want all 14. Well, actually, I challenge you on that, because if everything's important, nothing's important. And this is about learning to focus on what matters most to you. So take your wheel, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to fill your wheel in. And at the end, you should have some, it should kind of look like this. So let me just see if I can get myself back on the webcam. There we go. It should look something like this. Can you see that? Enough? No, I'm off. Okay, fine. So grab a wheel, fill it in, and use these names or anything else that works best for you. So if you think that actually family for you really means your great aunt, or it means someone who's become to be like family to you, who's more close to you than a friend, but isn't yet family, just use what serves you best. So 5 minutes, let's find these different areas that matter for you. Can you not see my screen? Oh, you can't see me. So, there we go. That's what mine looks like. I'm there, I can see me. I'm going to leave that. Right. I'm just going to leave the wheel.
And you go back to the page where the options are.
Right.
Jessica, can you go back to the page where the options are?
There you go.
Because all we're seeing is all the webcam.
There we go. Are you seeing the webcam? Yeah. Oh. No, it says stop sharing. Can you see it now? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it back. Thanks.
Sorry everybody. I don't know what happened there. My webcam stopped webcamming me and the screen stopped screening me. So there we go. Hopefully we're all back. So when you've done it, when you've selected all your areas, yeah. Okay. So when you've filled it in, what you're then going to do is you're going to start shading the areas. So one is low. So if you select, say for let's take friends, you put friends in there, and you think I don't give enough time to for my friendships, you just score that out of 1 in the middle or 2. And if you think I give loads and loads of time to my friends because it's really important to me, you score it then as a 5. So what you'll get is, and then you shade in those areas. So for example, here we go, exercise, if you can see that, I put exercise is really low for me, so I've given it a 1 and I've shaded that area in. Let's give you something that's high. I do lots of work. So I've put work on the outside there, and I've given it a 5. So you can see that that's what my wheel starts to look like. So this is you as you currently are, not you as you would like to be or as you aspire to be. So please do what you currently are. Exercise is rubbish at the moment. Hobbies. Please do add your own things. So if work is important to you, like it's important to me, please add it. So just make all these your own. Each section should be your own. And I'm making this look really, I can see it. All right, so if you've done that now and shaded all the areas, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. So I've made mine look a bit hideous so that you can see it. But you can see that in terms of a wheel, if this was going round and round, it isn't very, you know, it's not going to hold anything up. Right? If this is the end of a wheelbarrow, I'm going to have a very clunky wheelbarrow ride. If it's on a car, even worse. I'm not going to go very far. So in terms of your own wheel, I would love you to pick out the thing that if it just changed a bit, that would make the most difference to you. It would make you happier. It might add to your performance at work. So I look at this wheel here for me, and I'm thinking, right, what I've got my work is high, vacation holidays are a bit low, exercise is dismal. So dismal, I'm going to pick number 1. My number 1 thing that make a big difference to me is doing some exercise, because I've been doing no exercise all year. It's been catastrophic for me. So I know that if I was to get out, I've been doing some walking, it's not quite enough. So I need more exercise, and that's going to be the focus for my coaching conversation with Marie here in the room in a minute. So just pick the one thing that would make the biggest difference to your happiness and your productivity if it changed. Yeah? So just take 30 seconds to do that. All right, so I'm going to assume that you've done that now. And that what we're going to do now is think, okay, how do I work together in pairs? And we're going to try and have a coaching conversation right now. And in this coaching conversation,
The framework to use is the GROW model. And I would like you to think about your intention here, because the intention I'm going to ask you to have is just to really put yourself on hold and to focus and listen as hard as you can to the person that you're working with. And you're going to have about 7 minutes each to do this. And what I recommend is that you start off by just saying to your coachee, and if you want to scribble this question down because it's useful, what would you like to achieve in this short coaching session? And then what you need to find out for them when you've done that is what actually is going on for them. So in exercise, you might like to say, okay, so Jess, tell me about why exercise is important to you, what you want out of this. What does success look like for you? And then you can help that person, then you might help me, for example, generate some choices about how to deal with it. Because if you said to me, go find yourself a personal trainer, go for a run every day, do some weightlifting in the evening, I just go, whoa, whoa, too much. I don't want to do potentially what you suggested to me. So what you're trying to do is help me generate some choices that would help me deal with this, with my own situation. A funny story I had with my colleague, we were looking at a coach came in to say, look, I'd like to work with you. And she suggested to my colleague, who indeed had exactly the same thing around exercise, she suggested to my colleague that she might like to do some salsa dancing. Well, you should, my colleague Julia is not small, and the salsa dancing went down extremely badly as an option for something that she might like to do. In the end, Julia came to what she really wanted to do was actually just go out for a bicycle ride once a week with her husband. So I lost my screen again. Have you lost my screen? Okay. You lost my webcam. Okay. So when you've thought then about options to help someone generate their own options, you better check what they're willing to do. Because if I am willing to go for a bike ride once a week and it's my own idea, that's great. But 3 or 4 times a week, that won't be a realistic expectation in my life right now, considering I'm moving house. So the GROW model, I really recommend it to you. And why we don't get people to listen to your ideas is because of this. I'm just going to show you a couple of slides here. I'm going to come back to this. Here's why we actually ask people for their own ideas. So this is an fMRI scan, and this is somebody who's come and said, please help me, I have a problem. And we've got on the one side somebody who has got the problem and has asked for help, and on the other side someone who's helping them with that problem. So I'd just like you to think, who is the person who's come with the problem? Which brain is which? And if you think it's the person on the right, please just write us a little note saying I think it's the person on the right. And if you think it's the person on the left, go to the person on the left. All right, have we made a decision about who is the talker and who is the listener when somebody's come up? Right, okay, thank you. The colourful one is the talker, absolutely. So the colourful one is the talker. If the person who's talking is the person who is actually giving advice, the person on the left who's asked for that advice, their brain isn't firing at all. So that's a problem. You want the person brain to be firing. They need to do the talking. So that's why we have this, take this coaching approach where you generate your own answers. Now, I don't know if you're like me. If you give people unsolicited advice, so the first one was solicited advice, you come to somebody saying, I want some help. When you get that help from the person you've asked, their brain fires, not yours. Here's the second thing. I don't know if you've ever been in a car with your mum or husband and they start telling you how to drive, and you've been driving for 35 years like me. I don't have a good reaction when my mother starts telling me how to drive. That's unsolicited advice. So what happens is my 2 amygdala fire up and I start getting angry. My limbic system
does all the wrong things, and I stop listening. So this is again a reason why we don't want to give people unsolicited advice. So if you possibly can, I'm going to just remind you to ask people what they would like, what they observe from looking at their wheel, what they like and what they'd like to be better. Remember to ask them for a good outcome and just listen. It's such a luxury being given listening time. And if you see someone wriggling or moving or becoming uncomfortable, reflect that back to them at the end of your session and just ask what and how. So you're going to try and refrain from telling them what to do. I watched a coaching conversation go beautifully wrong last week where somebody said, okay, so I hear you've got two problems. One's leadership and the other is taking action. So I'm going to assume that leadership is the big problem. So did you talk to your boss? Have you found out what they could do? Did he say, give you some recommendations? And it all went horribly wrong from there. So let's just take 7 minutes each to find a partner, swap wheels with them, and coach them around the one thing that they might like to be different. Okay, let's go. And I'll remind you in 7 minutes in. Okay, everybody, I think it's if you could draw your conversations to a close and then just swap over so that if you're in a pair, the other person now gets a chance. Good? Okay, so Crosby, she left. She just jumped out. I think she's thinking, I think you're solo, it's not useful. Can you see all my camera? Maybe you've got three on. Yeah, they haven't turned them on. Unless it's listen to the slides and listen to see you. That's good. Mm-hmm. Letizia. Is that Letizia? Cousin or husband? Letizia. The thing is, the activity in the group is the worthwhile thing. Mm. Mm. Yes. Yeah. Maybe you didn't make that clear enough. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, it's not worth doing theory and actually a conversation, presentation on the topic. She just do. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time to do that little session. If you have any observations about the wheels, I'd love you to share them in the chat box now. And what I do recommend is that you take this wheel and show it to people who care for you. So you might want to take it home to your family, to your partners, and just talk about what it is, because what we have discovered is that when you start talking about the changes that you like, you're more likely to make them. So it is thought, word and deed. So do think about what you might do with that. And if you manage other people, can I also recommend that you get them to complete this with you and talk to them about how their own wheels could be more balanced. It is a very powerful tool to think about how you reflect and how you make changes to build your own personal resilience, because when you do the things that are important to you and that matter to you, you create that kind of inner stability for yourself. And if you always negotiate with yourself, this matters to me but I'm not doing it, we know that you reduce and actually damage in the end your own boundaries, because you're always putting yourself last. And from the research that's been done here at Hospice UK, there's some very powerful information which makes it completely clear that as a carer or a worker in hospices, if you don't take care of yourself first, you cannot take care of the people around you. And it's one of the most famous things, I'm sure that most of you know, from Maslow's burnout inventory, that taking care of yourself is the heart of everything. And this is a very, very easy way to do it. So if you have completed that, that's fantastic. If you'd like to do some more work, great. And what we're going to do now is sign out and chat next time. So the tools that we've left you with today are: one, thinking about a green space and how you might show a colleague a photograph or take some time for yourself in a green space. Even looking at a photograph makes a difference, by the way, to your own mental state. And then secondly, thinking about how you might take your wheel and further develop that. So just to make the point again, and maybe we weren't clear in our joining instructions, that we have constructed these webinars for you to do in groups. So if you are struggling because you're on your own, I do recommend that either you find someone to come in and do this work with, or just get on the phone with someone from another hospice at the same time, because that would be another great way of working together. And finally, Marie's giving me a little note saying, please do practice the GROW model, because it is incredibly useful. And if you'd like a separate webinar on that, I'd be very, very happy to do one. So pop me a note and we could add that in to our calls. And thank you very much for attending. For those of you who would like to finish your conversations together, please do that. And do send us a note. Thank you for attending.